With the conclusion of the set review of World Convergence, naturally deck profiles will be the first thing this channel and fellow content creators will immediately pursue. And with the excitement of Medusamon, there's a 10 billion% chance this will be the first deck profile many players will gravitate to. One thing that Bandai has done extremely well with sets, since especially EX7 is creating archetypes that are self-contained inside of the sets themselves. With BT20, this set had Chronicles and XL that you could largely build the deck from just this set minus a handful of cards. And now with BT21, Medusamon has largely its entire core as well. The narrative of today's video is to discuss card deck text before diving into a big picture of the deck and how you can build it. In no way, shape, or form is this deck profile perfect, but it does, as always, give you a place to start. And as always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. The first tech card that I like to discuss is that third level 3 you could run in the deck. Because Medusamon builds relatively like a typical red deck into a single stack, with powerful inheritables, the ratios for this type of deck are still somewhat similar, or close to 12 level 3s, 10 level 4s, 8 level 5s, and 6 level 6s as a baseline starting point. And with the fact that you already have elizamon and agumon taking up 8 of the 12 slots, what are some other Digimon to consider? On one hand, you might consider Floodgates, like Gaussmon, who is a reptile trait Digimon and is searchable. But depending on how the meta shapes up, Solarmon might be the superior choice if Royal Knights and Demon Lords continues to convert into high placements in tournaments. Sadly, I don't recommend Gatsumon mainly because this Digimon will prevent you from playing Petrification tokens, which can be somewhat important for this deck. As for the other level 3s, outside of Floodgates, EX3 Sunnerizamon has an interesting interaction with Gigimon, in that if you attack with Sunnerizamon, you'd be able to search for that Dragon, Soar, or Ceratopsian trait card, hit Security, then Digivolve into a level 4 before the check. Though because the majority of the level 4s have lower than normal stat lines, and Sunnerizamon does not have an inheritable, I opted not to run it. The last option I considered was a Guilmon variant, with an inheritable of increasing DP based deletion effects, but this is also situational and there are more cards that simply look at greatest or lowest DP versus actual DP based deletion. And of course, the Rush variant. Likewise, the level 4s have a single gap to be filled. The first option was EX8 Tyrannomon, and while true this Digimon is not a reptile or a dragonkin trait card, despite this fact, elizamon can search for this card because it is a liberator trait. Not to mention it adds another Digimon that could pop out of Security to be digivolved into the following turn. But outside of this option, Promo Flamedramon likely has the best utility, because even with Owen Dreadnought providing the end of turn attack ability, you could raid, force a Security add, at which point, even an elizamon inheritable could make this Digivolution cost 2. And when you get down to the super nitty-gritty cheap options, there's Cyclonemon from BT8 who deletes a Digimon with 2000 DP or less, and Dino-Hayumon, a Digimon that gives minus 2000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon when you attack. While they meet that Dragonkin trait, their effects aren't as strong. Your level 5s are covered, and honestly, I would not change them. But level 6s, you have a few items here to consider. EX4 Victory Greymon may be what ties this deck together very well, because when digivolving you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. For every Digimon your opponent has in play, you add 2000 DP to the maximum DP based deletion effect. If your opponent only has one Digimon in play, you could delete most level 5 and lower Digimon. But the real secret is it's all turns, once per turn effect, in which when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if you have a tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. So if your opponent's Petrification token is deleted, what ultimately results is another boss monster leaving the field. But of the various wargreymons out there, you have a ton of options to choose from. Of all the super top-end cards, there's only one card that comes to mind, and that is Omnimon X. But as cool as it is that you can search for it with elizamon or even option cards like Offense Training, it could end the game without suspending. However, both its on-play and when digivolving effects will only delete if you have Omnimon or X anybody in the sources. Otherwise, it returns one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. In order to fully utilize the effectiveness of the Petrification tokens, I personally don't recommend this card in the deck. But Agumon Bond of Bravery Ace, I could see it as a one-of, but there's one other cheeky way to end the game. Option-wise, outside of Raging Serpentine, Trident Gaia is definitely one card I considered because again, if the meta does run rampant with Royal Knights, you could play it to trash Security before you go for the attack and potentially win. One other option to consider is Crimson Blaze, because this could wipe out multiple Petrification tokens. Also keep in mind that Crimson Blaze prevents your opponent from playing Digimon by card effects, not you. So Medusamon's effect is still fair game. And then of course, lastly for tamers, outside of Owens, I could see some players doing the unpredictable play of running a memory fixer Kamiya from BT1. Extra checks could be worth it, but I personally will stay with just Owens. Now to look over the big picture of the deck profile, a lot of the deck as mentioned previously is self-contained in BT21. You can theoretically build this deck completely with just the addition of 10 cards from other sets. With over 80% of your cards here, that's really nice. Level 2s, I opt to not run any other level 2 because Digimon is awesome here. Whether your level 3, 4, or 5 goes into security, as long as you have the next level card in play, it does not matter. With the inclusion of Progress, that means your opponent could blast Digivolve, but it would be unable to target your attacking Digimon. And if your Digimon were to Digivolve into the next level with security check +1, the next check would go through without a hitch. Keep in mind, if you were to say Digivolve into Gaiomon after the security is removed, you would lose Progress, meaning you're affected by option cards, DP reduction, and security tech -1 again if it was lingering from a blast Digivolve effect. Ultimately, if you can go into Medusamon, that's the better play because you keep Progress until the end of attack window. Moving to the level 3s, elizamon is a mandatory must with the memory gain inheritable and also the searcher of the deck. Agumon can return reptiles, and Dragon can trade cards from the trash to hand, including itself to place another in the raise. And with its plus 2000 DP buff, this will help you get over bigger targets as well. But for the third level 3 I went with, ultimately Royal Knights has been making a lot of appearances, and if it continues doing so, Solarmon is the best counter to this strategy. Level 4s, Dimetromon remains at 4 copies because of that inheritable. Granted, I know it can only play at most 2 Owens, but that inheritable could be helpful when climbing as you attack. And the last level 4 of course goes to that Tyrannomon I discussed earlier, along with Cyclonemon as another security Digimon. Level 5's Lamiamon has Progress, meaning she could get away scot-free into security if there's no blockers or redirects. But should her attack target change, you get to trash the top security card anyway, and then evo up into that level 6 for more damage with Gigimon's effect. The inheritable is also nice in that it sets up another body when the security is removed from. Optimally, you'd want to have piercing, so Lamia is a great play at the end of turn to then attack. And if she's redirected, you trash a security, trigger Gigimon's effect to Digivolve into level 6, pierce over, then because the security was removed, Lamia's inheritable kicks in to play another body. Cyberdramon likewise is huge, in that outside of its huge DP boost, it could be theoretically a 1-cost evo from level 5, with the effects of elizamon and dimetromon gaining you a memory back. As for level 6s, I opted not to run the Omnimon X, and instead just keep it at 8 level 6s with Medusamon as my primary, 2 wargreymons, and 2 victory greymons. With Medusamon, this Digimon has Progress and can check 2 security, assuming she isn't blocked without being affected. Remember, Progress affects your opponent from affecting your Digimon while you're attacking, meaning until the end of attack triggers, you are completely immune from Digimon effects and option cards. Additionally, when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted or their security stack is removed from, you may play 1 petrification token on your opponent's board, which when it's deleted, you trash their top security card. Hilariously, this token can't be suspended, meaning it can't be used for Alliance or any other effects for that matter. Wargreymon is my endgame finisher because even at 1 memory, you could play this Digimon and assuming there's nothing on board that could interrupt you, Owen lets it attack and has Rush. Win-win. Option-wise, I keep it simple with 3 Raging Serpentine and 1 Trident Gaia as my board removal cards, with 3 offense trainings for consistency. Tamer-wise, I prioritize the new Owen Dreadnought over the old one, but I'd love to bring the Memory Fixer up 1 more if I could. Overall, this deck has not been fully tested, but are my preliminary thoughts on where the deck should go. What aspects are you tinkering with, and what did you like most about today's discussion? Let me know, and I'll catch you on another upload this week. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.